Day 2 in EVE Online. Hell of a ride so far, honestly. The first day was pretty bare bones. Basic movement, flight, space navigation, with some minor attention given to combat. So what does Day 2 bring to the table? To start, it introduces agents which act as an extended tutorial to specific aspects of the game. For example, military agents basically are combat tutorials, businesses trading, and industry, wow I pronounced that weird, industry is mining and crafting. I like this idea. It's actually a fantastic idea for a game this deep and intricate. It tells you to choose the agent you're most interested in and start it. Each agent has about 10 missions to give you, all of which seem to have a small storyline and rewards given to you throughout. Being EVE and knowing how potent and alive the PvP aspect of the game actually is, I decided the first thing I should do is bang out the military agent mission, get knee-deep in combat, and learn the basics of it all. So I'm told of a pirate causing the Caldari some issues. Since I'm a new pilot, according to the storyline, and have been recommended to her, I'm sent to deal with him. The next 10 missions follow me chasing this pirate down, dealing with his cronies, and cleaning up his messes in different parts of Caldari space. Each time I finish a mission, I'm handed some ISK, which is the in-game currency, and a reward of some sort. They also provide me with a new turret for my ship and start with some new ammo. Before we get into the combat, though, in the missions themselves, I want to talk about fitting as a ship, which is just kind of fancy talk for equipping new gear, essentially. I have to give kudos to the game here. They make it very simple and easy to figure out how to equip your ship. In fact, one of my complaints in the last video during day 1 was that they didn't repeat things often enough. They tell you how to open your mission log once and then expect you to know how to do it from then on. But for this, they repeat it each time, and they want you to equip something. They highlight the new button, they highlight the fitting button, they tell you how to open up your cargo, etc. And fitting is made very clear. In fact, fitting a ship is easy and kind of fun. I can see it becoming more fun and addicting modifying a ship as things go on with better items, managing your capacitor's power, mods, weapons, and so on. So that aspect of the game I actually give big props to. It's a very customizable way of making your ship your own. But let's move on past that and let's take a look at the combat and the missions themselves, the bulk of Day 2. As I said earlier, we're chasing a pirate, and honestly the story quickly takes a back seat. You're essentially going from quote-unquote room to room, clearing out some baddies, progressively getting tougher, and as you go on, they progressively get tougher, and then the numbers of each enemy increases. Each time you finish a mission, you're handed your rewards. Not bad, right? Simple, gets a point across, you kind of learn combat as you go on. But that's where you're wrong. Oh, so wrong! This is my first and pretty big complaint with the game so far. Quite often, actually at least 3 times, the games will hand you a reward, typically a new accessory or weapon to fit your ship with. After you acquire it, the AI will pop up and tell you to equip it. She goes through the motions, how to use it, what it does, how to put it on your ship, why it's useful, etc. So after I get my first reward, which is an afterburner, which will basically allow my ship to move faster and have some extra mobility, it tells you to open up your inventory in your ship window and put it on. I happily open up my inventory, pop up my ship fitting, and drag it over onto the ship. As soon as I do, an error window pops up. Wait, what? An error window? Oh, what's it say? I'm sorry, but you can't equip that window without the you can't equip that weapon, you can't equip that booster, if I could speak correctly, without the appropriate skills trained. Huh, I think. Well, maybe they gave me the necessary skill book like they've done before, no big deal. I'll pop up in my inventory. We'll take a look here. Oh, there's a skill book, but that sure as hell ain't for afterburners. Wait a minute. Did they just give me a reward that I can't use and tell me to use it on the next mission to get closer to my enemies? I must have missed something. I'll go ahead and open up the rookie chat and ask. A few people laugh, and one even tells me, well, CCP, which are the developers of the game, aren't developers but engineers. Don't expect perfection. It's not going to happen. It's gonna happen a lot early on where you get things you can't use. Wait. Hold the phone. Did this guy just offend a bunch of people who developed the game and tell me they aren't developers and then I'm gonna get a bunch of rewards I can't use throughout the tutorial? What? That's just bad game design. There's no defense for that. I'm a little angry at this point. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't give me this stuff and tell me I can't use it. So I get mad a little bit, I kind of simmer down, I trudge on. Maybe they're just giving me this stuff for the future. Maybe the tutorial is just going to keep talking about it, but I'm just not going to get used to it, and I'll eventually learn how to use them. As I said earlier, things during this quest line actually get tougher, and I keep getting rewards that I can't use. A missile launcher, an automated repair drone, some sort of shield booster, an augmentation for my character, all of which would make these missions doable, but I can't equip. I'm stuck with the basic shields and basic turrets. Eventually I actually hit a wall. I get to a place where there are about 8 or 9 enemies, 3 or 4 of which have missile launchers. They're tearing me up. I have to run twice from this battle, warp back home and repair before a subscriber of mine actually pops on and helps me out. Thank the baby Jesus. He shows up and actually helps me get through this. He follows me to my missions and tears through the enemies, zipping around them, and I sit back and watch as they explode. I can't quite do much to help out. By the time I get to the enemy, they're dead. I know for a fact that without this guy's help, this would have been impossible for me to complete. I tell him about the rewards I can't use, and he tells me where I can buy the skill books I need. All the skills that will allow me to use all of these items that I got take about an hour in total to train. Jeez, this is unacceptable. You can't have a tutorial, reward the player with better gear, and then say, nope, that was a slap on the hand. No, you can't use that. I'm sorry, you're just not good enough yet. How are these supposed to continue on? How are we supposed to move on through the tutorial? Especially if you make it more difficult as you play. If you're going to have a tutorial, make it complete. Make it manageable. If you can't do that, then just take it out. Don't use the tutorial and say, do you want to know how to do this? Do you want to know about combat? Here, open this giant text box and read. Is that fun? No, not at all. But it's functional, which this tutorial is clearly not. But I was able to get a good grasp on how combat worked. Unlike other theme park MMOs, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, etc., combat isn't flashy at all. It's tactical. You need to know where your weapon's optimum range sits. Choose how far you want to stay away from your enemy. Orbit them from a particular distance. Lock onto multiple targets and know which ones you should be firing at. It amounts to a different colored lasers flashing back and forth until someone explodes. And to be honest, it doesn't sound that exciting. But it is. It's oddly thrilling. You're kind of a commander of this ship, and just giving it the right orders is a very exhilarating experience. When you die, your ship explodes, leaving a wreck behind. You are then floating in space in a pod. Essentially, your character is helpless. You can warp home in this pod, and luckily NPCs don't attack pods and kind of leave you alone. You can then go home, get another ship from the hangar, go back to the place you lost your ship, and salvage the wreck, getting some of the items back that you've lost. From my understanding, in PvP, players can actually target and destroy your pods as well, killing your avatar, which is known as a clone, inside the pod, and setting you back even further. I haven't much touched this yet, so I'll kind of leave it alone until I do. I know it sounds like I complained a lot, and honestly the complaints are kind of valid, whether someone says the game developers are developers or not. But outside of that, and outside of the incomplete tutorial, I still have a very positive outlook on EVE. It definitely requires work on your end, and over the next couple days I'm looking forward to getting into a corporation, which are essentially just guilds, that's made for new players, which will hopefully alleviate my training frustrations. On top of that, I've been doing a little bit of reading each night on the wiki, about 15 to 20 minutes, not that much, to kind of give myself a head start for when I go into the game. Thus far, I highly recommend going into this game with the idea that you're going to have questions and will need help. If you're lucky enough to know people in the game, make use of them. You're gonna need it. And if you don't, aim to get into an early newbie corporation, early newbie guild, and use that rookie chat. It's basically your lifeline for the first few days. So next time we take a look, I'm probably going to be taking a look at business. We're going to talk about skill attributes as well as how skill training works, as well as how some good ways to make some ISK, aka money, in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed day 2. I know I did, even though I have some massive gripes with the game, and we'll just see how deep this rabbit hole goes in day 3.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.